Hi everyone, this is Debbie from Organic Oasis in Northern California, Zone 9B. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a potato and leek soup. Tomato Tim and I grow potatoes, and this year our house is a little warmer than the potatoes liked it. So even though I stored these in a box in a dark closet, our potatoes have started sprouting. And I've decided I'm just going to use them all today to make a wonderful leek soup. And also in California, we're in the beginning of spring, but we also have rain for the next 3 days. So this is perfect to make this soup on this nice rainy, cooler day in California. Now, we grow these potatoes, and our house we keep it at about 68 degrees. And because we live in California, we do get warmer temperatures. Our house goes up to in the 70s. I think my kitchen right now is probably 73. And so basically potatoes like to be stored once you harvest them, maybe in the 50s. If you have a root cellar or a cool place, our garage actually gets hotter than inside our house and colder than inside our house. So we really just can't store these any place where it's going to stop them from sprouting. It's okay, but we don't have to throw them away. We can still use them. So all I do is I just pop off the sprout like this, and I just go ahead and use them. However, if I wait any longer, they will really sprout. They'll start to grow a lot of roots. These potatoes want to keep growing now, so they're no longer resting. They're ready to grow. So yeah, if I wanted to regrow these, I could keep them and let them sprout in multiple places, and I could actually replant these and continue to grow them outside. But because we want to eat them, I'm just going to pop these off now and go ahead and use them. So let's make our delicious leek soup. So the first thing we're going to do with these potatoes is remove these sprouts and scrub them really good. I have never washed them. It's not a good idea to wash your potatoes when you harvest them. Scrub them. You can pick off any of the sprouts. You can use a sponge if you need something a little bit harder. Any spots that you don't like on your potatoes, like any cracks or anything, you can just, while you're washing, go ahead and just peel them off like this. I don't usually peel my little potatoes, but if there's any cracks or anything that you don't like, you just peel them all right off. And I do this at this step while I'm washing them. So here are the potatoes. They're prepared. I have peeled some of them, some of the spots off of them or the cracks that were on them. Some of them didn't need peeling, but the ones that did, I went ahead and cleaned them up. So now I'm going to cut these into pieces, cut them in half, and put them in my slow cooker. So just going to cut them into halves. I'm going to put them in the slow cooker like this. And it's going to cook all day. And then it's going to be pureed. So, technically, oh, there goes my dog. Technically, I could not even cut these. They're small enough potatoes. I could just put them in whole, but I'm going to go ahead and just follow the recipe. It says to cut them into like little half-inch pieces. So I'll just do this. Cut them. It won't take me that long to do it. Here are the beautiful potatoes. They're all ready. I have gone ahead and cleaned them really good and peeled some of the parts off that I didn't like, some of the cracked parts, and then I just cut them in half. So now what we're going to do next is add chicken broth, and I just use the Kirkland organic chicken stock. And this recipe calls for 5 cups of the chicken broth, but in these containers, this box is 4 cups. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just put in the whole box, which is 4 cups, and then I'm going to add 1 cup of water, mainly because I don't want to open another box of this because I don't have any use for 3 more cups. So I would have it just sitting in my refrigerator and it'd probably go bad. So I'm going to go ahead and just, rather than open up another whole container, I'm just going to add 1 cup of filtered water. Here is my 1 cup of filtered water going in. So here I just have my pot of potatoes with the chicken broth and water. Now you might be asking, well, how many potatoes does the recipe call for? The recipe actually called for 5 large potatoes. And because I'm using my own homegrown potatoes, and I wanted to use them up because they were sprouting, I just threw them all in here. I didn't weigh them or anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm using the single recipe. I'm just making the soup the single recipe with the 5 cups of liquid, and I'm going to put in leeks and onions and garlic and salt and pepper. But at the end, after it cooks all day, I'm going to puree it, and then we're going to add a cup of milk. It could be cream. I'm going to use whole milk. You can use your regular low-fat or non-fat milk if you want. And if you don't use dairy, you can use a non-dairy, whatever you drink that's non-dairy. You can add that. And now I'm going to use my milk, and what I'm going to do is if the potato soup is too thick, because I've got a lot of potatoes in here, I'm just going to thin it down with more milk. And that's all I'm going to do. I tend to like a thicker soup, so if it does come out really thick, that's great. But the option is you can thin your soup down with the cream or the non-dairy milk that you use. And then at that point, all we're going to add is some chives on top of that. And if you wanted to add some shredded cheese or something, you could do that too. But that is why I'm not telling you exactly how many potatoes to put in. You could follow the recipe exactly, because I'm going to put the recipe in the description. You could follow that perfectly and just do what it's saying to do. In my case, I'm just using my potatoes, so I don't have an exact measurement for you. The next ingredient that I'm going to add to the pot is the trimmed leeks that I get at Trader Joe's. The recipe calls for 3 white parts only. I'm going to use 2, and I'm going to use the entire leek. The only thing I'm going to do is trim off a little bit at the bottom. Now I need to wash these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off the base and just get rid of that. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut down. I want to make sure you can see this. Let me do this. I'm going to cut down the length like this, and then you can kind of peel it open, and then you can wash anything that's stuck inside the leeks, any dirt or anything. Usually there's not a lot of dirt, but I just do a quick rinse, and I will be back in a minute. Okay, so I just did a quick rinse on these. I'm just going to slice these and throw them in like this. These pureed soups are nice because you can just, at the end, you just blend it all up in a blender, or you use one of your blending tools. And so I don't spend a lot of time chopping or worrying about the size of my vegetables. I'm just going to put them all in just like this. So I'm just going to pick them up here and throw them right into the bowl of soup. Okay, just like that. The next ingredient we're going to put in is a chopped onion. And you can use any type of onion that you would like to use. I have organic onions here I'm going to use. I usually just quickly take off all the skin and chop it up. Again, don't worry about cutting it into mini pieces. You can put in even bigger pieces. You're going to be pureeing the soup. Make it easy on yourself. That's it. That's all I'm going to do. I don't want to cry. Onions make me cry. Just going to scoop it up, move it into the pot. Ooh, it's already burning my eyes. Now we need 2 garlic cloves. I grow my own garlic. I've made, I think, 2 or 3 videos on how to grow garlic, how to preserve your garlic. And if you want to watch that, you can search in my channel and you can see those videos. Garlic is super easy to grow. I love it. And again, when you grow your own, you know what? You're never going to have garlic as good as homegrown garlic. You just are not. It's a very hands-off type of thing to grow. Doesn't take a lot of work. I grow it in a grow bag and I add a little bit of drip and I just let it go. And I get these nice, beautiful garlic cloves that I use all year. And it's awesome. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to take and we're going to chop up this garlic. And it says not to mince it. Again, why mince it if we're going to be pureeing everything? So basically, I'm just going to do a quick little, cut it into a few little pieces and just stick it in just like this. Not a big deal. It's going to add all this yummy flavor and then it's going to get pureed. Into the pot it goes. Here is this delicious pot. Doesn't this look lovely? It's going to make such a wonderful soup. I cannot wait. And since it's raining today, it's going to be perfect. Okay, we need 1 teaspoon of salt. You can add more salt later after you taste it, but 1 teaspoon right now. 1/4 teaspoon of fresh ground pepper. Again, you can just put in some pepper and add more as you're eating it. And here's a secret ingredient that is not in the recipe. I dehydrate my homegrown organic peppers. I mix them all together so they're spicy and mild. And I make my own dehydrated pepper flakes. And I'm going to put in 1 teaspoon in here just to add, oh, it's strong, to add a little bit of a kick. And it's going to be delicious. So look at this. This just looks so wonderful. Now, there's not, as you can see, there's a lot more vegetables than the liquid, but I am not going to add more liquid right now. Remember, when the vegetables cook, they're going to soften and they're going to break down. Some of this liquid will come out of the vegetables and you will end up with more natural vegetable broth. So the liquid level will rise and the vegetables will soften and break down. So at this point, I'm not adding any more liquid. And we're going to be adding some milk at the end before we serve it. And so that's also going to add more liquid. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in my crock pot. And I'm going to cook it on high right now. You cook it on low for 8 to 10 hours or high 4 to 6. And because this is getting into early afternoon here in California, I'm going to put it in on high for about 4 hours. The soup is out of the crock pot, and you see how much more liquid there is in here, and the vegetables are really soft. They've been cooking for 5 hours now. So I'm going to use my KitchenAid immersion blender, and I'm just going to puree this up. And be careful, it is hot, so you have to be careful you don't splatter yourself with liquid. So I just go in pulsating. I just press down while it's going, and then I keep it submerged, and then I turn it off and go up like this. Then I come up. And once you can keep it down here and also just kind of go in a circle. Then again, if you want to get the big chunks, you can just. Okay, so the soup is pureed, and it is a little on the thick side, and I did have a lot more potatoes. So I'm going to go ahead. Now you're supposed to add 1 cup of cream. I'm going to add just regular milk, and I'm going to pour it in here. I'm going to put 1 cup in, and then if I needed a little bit more liquidy, I'll just add another cup of milk. So here we go. So here the soup is pureed, and let me show you the consistency of it. It is on the thicker side. It needs more salt. So I am going to I put in 1 teaspoon. I'm going to add 1 more teaspoon of salt. Okay, let me taste it. I think it's much better with a little more salt. Now you may want to get it a little thicker. Actually, it's not. I think I'll ask Tomato Tim what he thinks. Okay, so I brought in Tomato Tim here to get his opinion. Does this soup need more? Does it need to be thinner with more milk or not?
Maybe a 1/4 cup more.
Okay, so let me try it and let's test it out. So stay right there while I'm going to add a little bit more. Okay, I just added a 1/4 cup more milk, whole milk, and let's see if it passes the taste test.
Perfect.
Perfect. So it passed Tomato Tim's inspection here. We put in 1 1/4 cups of milk. So this delicious potato leek soup is almost finished. I sprinkled some of our fresh harvested chives from our garden, really easy to grow. It's very simple to grow. Onions, chives, leeks, and you might want to try this in your garden, but we just harvested it and are going to sprinkle it on our soup. And the recipe that I'm using calls for a tablespoon of blue cheese to sprinkle on after. Now this recipe was originally a French recipe. They did not put blue cheese on it, but the English came along and adapted it, and they put blue cheese on it. So depending on what you like, just make the soup the way you want it. And then there's another tweak, and that's some people like to put bacon on it. And if you're not a bacon eater, don't do that either, but I'm going to sprinkle just a tiny bit in the middle. Think of this like a loaded potato, baked potato. So usually on potatoes, people put cheese, they put chives, they put sour cream, they put bacon bits and things like that. So just load it up the way you like the soup. This soup is so delicious. I'm going to link the recipe. I will post the recipe in the descriptions. If you like these type of soup recipes, growing your own vegetables, making delicious food out of them, please subscribe to our channel at Organic Oasis, California. Thanks for watching.